Where's the city attorney?
Do we need a city attorney or?
She's running another 10 minutes.
Okay, we could probably get going on the stuff we're doing. It probably doesn't, not too legally,
opening.
not too much peril there. Okay, so this is the regular agenda for the Board of Fire Commissioners regular meeting. It's Tuesday, September 15th at approximately 9:15 a.m. Roll call, yes. So they call it.
Let the record reflect Commissioner Leisure, Fazio, Hara, and Woods Gray are present. We have a quorum.
Great. Can we start with the flag salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Okay, we'll start with some commissioner comments.
I got a chance to participate in a couple of the memorial events for 9/11. I think they were better done this year, which isn't to in any way disparage prior years, but they were better done this year than ever before. I think Chief Rooted did a fabulous job at the early morning one, and then I also attended the one at the 88s, and that was very well orchestrated as well. And just thoroughly appreciate all the energy that goes into putting those things together. They're very important and memorable, and they do a nice job of paying our respects to your fallen comrades. So appreciated that, Chief.
Thank you.
Likewise, I actually, the night before, I attended the LA Fire Department Foundation's event where they showed off the calendar with 9 male firefighters and 3 female firefighters, and then the following day I attended first the memorial at the Fallen Firefighters Museum, and Memorial Museum, and then I attended the event at Hodgkins, and then likewise I was also at the event at 88 as well, and I would agree with Commissioner Fazio. They were really great events, and I guess I want to be the first to acknowledge Commissioner Fazio. This is his last meeting, and I, for one, I'm going to miss him, but I will vote for him because I'm in the senatorial district that he belongs to, so hopefully I'll get to see more of him as a state senator.
One down.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I, too, would like to add to Dr. Hara's accolades for Commissioner Fazio. I've actually enjoyed working with you and talking with you, and there are a lot of you are very, very dedicated to public service and to the fire department. The work that you do and have done is outstanding and to be commended. Because I think you go way beyond the call of duties in many instances, providing services to the fire stations, the firefighters, and just your general knowledge of public safety has been valuable to me.
Thank you.
And you'll be missed. Good luck in your new endeavors.
Thank you.
I also attended the foundation's reception, which was very nice, and it was great to see the real firefighters who are on the calendar. We got to see some of them, and I encourage everyone to purchase the calendar because it is beautiful, well done, and tasteful. Not a New York type calendar; it's an LA calendar. But it's lovely, and I have made some of my purchases, so I encourage everyone else to also support the foundation. I also attended the family orientation for the next class that's coming. That will be at the 40s, I guess, at Fire Station 40. And a good group of people. Looks like a very healthy selection, and so I was excited to see that there are women and people of color and all the variety. It's a very diverse group of people, and we're doing the very best we can on that, which is really good. Also, I attended the 9/11 event, and Chief Ruta is to be commended for his leadership in moving the ship right along. I mean, he was right on time with everything, keeping it going. But the presentations, the speakers, and just the whole atmosphere, and thanking Gil Cedillo for those tents, because that was a real good thing for us. And then the breeze came up in the afternoon, which was actually a little later after we got there, which was really good. And last time we had the opening of the Fire Station Park, and I forgot to commend Councilman Blumenfield for his efforts, because he spearheaded and led the efforts to make sure we got that park open. And I forgot to actually mention his name as a part of that, and I'd like to commend him for the work that he did there. And I guess that was our exciting week.
I wanted to. I had the opportunity to ride out with one of our public assemblage inspectors, Inspector Travins, and really appreciated the opportunity to spend some time with him on a Saturday night, checking out some of the club activities ranging from all the way in downtown to South Hollywood. So I got a great sense of the work that they're doing. Appreciated that. And I too wanted to just I think we're going to be recognizing Commissioner Fazio a little bit later, but it never hurts to say it twice. I've certainly really enjoyed working with you and having you up here with us, and all your knowledge and good questions are going to be missed. So, but I know we'll talk later.
So, did I miss your announcement?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay,
But everybody knows. It's unspoken.
Unspoken word.
I just expressed my appreciation for the 9/11 stuff and moved on.
Well, I also want to express my appreciation, but if we're going to have an opportunity to do that later, I'll.
Thank you.
We're still waiting on the city attorney, I guess.
Yeah,
we're short of city.
Yeah.
We're not positive what we can do without a city attorney present. Do you know?
We're okay as long as we don't break the law.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam President. My activities in the past week, I need to say thank you to Commissioner Fazio, but we're going to be doing that more in depth later, so I'll skip over that for now. Not that you're not important, but we're going to make you very important shortly. September 3 through the 5th, I attended the Urban Fire Forum in Boston, Massachusetts, and I had the great opportunity to interact with the fire chiefs from Boston, Miami, Chicago, and others. And great conversation. I think it's a great opportunity to see what other major fire departments, their challenges and how they're approaching them. Nice to see that in some of those presentations, they're using us as an example of what we're doing right. One of the issues was transitional firefighting, and we adopted that guideline just a few months ago. So it just shows we're on the cutting edge of doing new and innovative things. This was a strategy that the Underwriter Laboratories has tested, and it's contrary to all previous training that we did. This is going in a different direction, but we believe it's safer and more effective. On September 8th, we had the Class 15-2 family orientation. We have 50 new recruits starting September 21st, and there will be 4 females in this class, so we're making progress on that front as well. September 9th, we had a press conference to announce the Run to Remember event. It's sponsored by The Grove, Rick Caruso, and others. The event date is January 24th. Chief Beck was there, and County Fire was there, and Sheriff's Department, and CHP, and the challenges were flying. And Chief Everett texted me not to commit, but I had to jump in, and I made the challenge. So I need to create an LAFD running team. So those of you that are runners, and if you're not runners, start training, because it's January 24th. It's 2 options, a half a marathon or a 5-mile run, and I did not bet mustaches. I was tempted to. September 10th, we attended the Fire Foundation's 5th anniversary reception at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City. Karen Wagner did a great job. They unveiled the new calendar, as was stated previously. Some of the calendar people were there in attendance. I thought very tastefully done. Good job, Karen. Thank you very much. Then 9/11. We had the 9/11 ceremony at Hodgkins. Got a lot of accolades from the service from multiple people. Very tastefully done. Chief Ruda was the MC. The mayor was there, and Chief Beck and others. It's a solemn day, and somebody asked me how long we're going to do that for, and I said forever. You know, that's something that we can never forget, and it's an opportunity for all public safety and the public to mourn the loss and to remember the sacrifices that were made and to move forward together as patriots, as was stated at that event. Immediately following that, we had another press conference in front of the LAPD headquarters to announce the purchasing of electric vehicles. LAPD, Water and Power, and Fire Department were all purchasing EVs, electric vehicles. The first phase for us is to purchase 8 of those vehicles for our inspectors, with the eventual plan over multiple years to phase in and replace the entire fleet with electric vehicles. So we're happy to participate in that effort, and we're starting to make progress. And just this morning, I attended the Los Angeles Catholic Prayer Breakfast at the Cathedral. Beautiful event. Joined some of my staff there. At the end of the Mass, the keynote speaker was Lou Holtz, the former coach of Notre Dame. Very motivational, very funny. He shared some life lessons on how to be successful, very simple. Do the right thing, be the best you can be, and show people you care. And I think those are strong lessons to support and to live by. And lastly, I just want to give an update. We do have people up in Central California at the Butte County Fire. We have 2 strike teams and an XLA strike team, as well as 23 overhead firefighters. And I just received an email about 10 minutes ago about the current status of that fire. We have 72,000 acres of brush. It's 37% contained. Fire behavior was minimal overnight due to the higher humidity and some precipitation. There's mandatory evacuations in multiple communities, and threats currently exist to residences, critical power infrastructure, watersheds, cultural and heritage resources. So they're having a tough time up the coast and in Central California. We're doing our part. The rain today is a good thing. I'm hoping that the rain continues, not all at once. We want small increments for multiple days. That would be nice. So that concludes my report.
Would you say today's a dry run for El Nino?
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Chief, did we send people or have they been up there since the Cobb fire when it was first started? Did we have people there?
We returned everybody. We're all back in the city for a period of about 2 weeks, and then this fire broke out on a few days ago, the 9th. So when the call came in, they asked for not one, they asked for 2 right away, and then multiple overhead people. So we immediately deployed upon the request.
Okay, thank you. I have friends who lived in Cobb, and interesting enough, 2 of the houses were saved, while almost everything else is leveled. The school and the 2 schools are still standing. So they're very appreciative for the assistance that they have been getting in the north.
Yeah, thank you for that. We recently were made aware of National Geographic was doing a news piece on a Salt Lake City strike team. Our strike team was embedded with them and became part of the story because they were so impressed with the performance of our people. And we acknowledged that in a portal message yesterday. But it also came up in a subsequent conversation when we were proposing that we receive all 5 Type 3 fire engines. And after many years of hard work by Chief Roeda and the Brush Committee, the culmination of that was that the state gave us 5 brand new Type 3 fire engines, total value of $2.2 million. And we'll be receiving these in about 90 days. And I attribute that not only to the many years of hard work, but in that same conversation, they made notice of the work that we performed just a few days prior. So it tells me we're doing good things.
Yes, very good. And also, the governor has acknowledged the fact that public safety is the number one issue for governments, which I thought was really interesting, and that he's going to put more money in, which is actually a very good thing. He said governments are about a lot of things, but their number one issue is public safety. I thought that was good.
So, are we going to move? I think we're going to move the presentation to the end. So let's do that. Let's take up the consent agenda items, and can we add 5C, which is the Lloyd staffing staffing contract agreement, to the consent agenda? Does somebody want to move that?
Actually, can I pull off? Sorry, item. Let's see. What is this one? It's one of the uncollectibles. I just had a couple questions about
A
it.
lot of uncollectibles. There's 3 uncollectibles.
It's the one on the $133,000 of uncollectibles. I can't figure out which item it is.
Is it Coupa or is
Not
it?
the Coupa. It's the
Is the ambulance
environmental
service?
construction. Oh yeah, 1 of 3. So item 4C. So I'll move item for the consent 4A, B, D, as well as 5C
Yes.
to adopt the recommendations.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So let's take up 4C
Yeah.
independently then.
So I just had a few. I know we've talked about the collectibles before, but I just had some questions. When they declare them uncollectible, what does that mean? That means they can't find them anymore? Is that what it means? Yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi.
I'm Carmela Espiritu. I'm the department chief accountant for the department.
Pull your mic down. There
Sorry.
you go.
Good morning.
It's like one of the straws, the bendy straws. There you
Okay.
go.
Carmela Espiritu, the department chief accountant for the fire department. So when they're declared uncollectible, that means they've gone through collection agencies, primary collection agency for 9 months, and then 6 months secondary collection agency. So we've gone through the citywide billing and collection guideline as far as sending out our billing notices, and it's just that the primary collection agency, they were not able to collect these accounts.
So my question, and I'm really looking at this one. I know $133,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, but when I flip through the list of people who we've written off here, these are going concerns here, and I mean, even I know where their offices are located. Suffolk Construction, $312. Their office is on 6th Street. The Downtown Women's Center. They're a great nonprofit. They may not even know they have a bill, but their office is, around the corner. These are some really pretty significant. The Kyoto Grand Hotel and Gardens, $320. Richard Morello.
That's not in business anymore.
Oh,
for sure.
they went out of business. Okay, they were purchased, I guess. But Richard Morello owns $3,200. He's one of our big developers in the downtown area. Why would that happen if we know where their offices are and? Are our collectors asleep, or they just don't knock on the doors, and if you don't respond to the bill, then you get off? Or
They do have contracts with the city, and they've gone through all their notices and skip tracing and following up on phone calls. They're part of the city contract with the Office of Finance, and it's just that they haven't been able to collect on these accounts.
Yeah, I'm just skeptical. I guess one question I have, and maybe this is beyond our scope, but if somebody owes us money, and Suffolk wants to go get a permit at Building and Safety for something, is there any connection to Building and Safety? So where we could say, Suffolk Construction, I see that you have an outstanding bill of $312 to the fire department. We're not going to issue any permits until you make good on that.
Right now, that is not happening within the city. The systems are not connected. But
Okay.
in the fire department, we're undergoing like a prepayment service right now. It's through our construction services permits, and we're going through before they are issued any new permits, then or provided service. Then we are requiring them to provide payments beforehand, before any service is rendered. So that is undergoing right now in the fire department.
Yeah, I think I would ask, and I don't know if it requires a motion, but I think I would ask that we reach out to the CAO on this and determine whether or not there's an opportunity for us to communicate with our folks in the city and say, how can we let building and safety know? Because particularly on the construction services stuff, I mean, these folks are going to come back and they're going to need more permits.
Right.
And it's not, like I said, it's not a ton of money, but look, I mean, $150,000 is $150,000.
Right.
So I would like us to reach out to the CAO, and I'd like to hear back what they say about how we can communicate better with other departments who might be issuing permits to these folks,
Right.
and say that we're not going to do that until they pay up.
Right. Like for construction services for building and safety, they're normally paid up front
Yeah.
for our regular permits. These are mostly the off-hour expedited permits that are not paid. But we're in our department, we have a process now. We're working on prepayment.
Still, I would
Right.
still like to say
Of
to
course.
building and safety, do not issue permits as long as they're uncollected accounts.
Okay.
So I'm glad we're moving to something else, but that will not catch all of them. I'm sure of it. We're still going to have folks who aren't paying up. So I would love to hear a conversation, the results of a conversation with the CAO about how we can work with building and safety to say, if you have an uncollected debt in the fire department, you don't get permits from anywhere else,
Right.
including building and safety. Okay, so
Okay.
maybe we can put that down on our list. Thank
Okay,
you so much.
We will do. Thank
Okay.
you.
Move to any other questions? Sorry.
I have a question. Ooh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I just went. Is that a city agency that does the collection, or is it a private agency that you use?
These are contractors that have contracts with the city of LA.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you.
And actually, oh, no, we're done. Thanks.
Okay, move to adopt the recommendation for item 4C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, I skipped over the verbal reports by the department, so if we can go to verbal report by the department on significant incidents from September 2 to September 15th.
Good morning, Madam President, Commission,
Morning.
Chief Terrazas.
Good morning.
Daryl Arbuthnot, Valley Bureau. We just had one significant incident to speak about. It happened just a few evenings ago on September 10th, just about 12 in the morning. We had a one-story commercial, 200 by 300 feet, well involved. It was a flooring distribution warehouse, and we ended up being in an incident for about 4 days. The fire was knocked down in 4 hours. We had 160 firefighters there, but we extended our stay to make sure business continuity was taken care of. The arson got in there and did a thorough assessment. And we had other challenges, but the incident was very impressive how the firefighters knocked that down. We only had one injury, minor heat exhaustion. At that evening, it was about 12:30 in the morning. We had a firefighter get on heat exhaustion, 80-degree weather in the evening. So that's all there is to report fire-wise. Thank you.
Thank you. Do
Border Structure Fire 39 's first in. Task Force 39, Rescue 39, Task Force 88, Rescue 88, Engine 102 is the command post unit. EMS 14, Battalion 10, Battalion 14 response to border structure fire. Intersection of Kester and Calvert. Incident number 20, your timeout is 0011. This is Channel 9 dispatch. Channel 9, your TAC is 17, TAC 17.
MSC Task Force 39 on scene. Directed address 14937 Calvert. We have a large single-story commercial building. Heavy fire showing through the roof.
Units respond to the structure fire. We have a corrected address 14937 Calvert. We have a large one-story commercial. Fire through the roof.
Engine 102 on scene.
Yeah, Roger. Engine 102, come on in and take the exposure to the Bravo site.
Battalion Life Force 88. We're on the Far Delta side of this building. 14925 Alpha is the address. We have a warehouse attached to it. It's already got smoke coming from it also. Might be part of the same complex.
Yeah, truck 80 feet from Calvert IC, Roger. Let's see if you can have your engine open that up and see what the extension is.
If there's no other questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam President, Chief Terrazas, Commissioners, Sandy, and I did want to be one of the long list of people to sincerely thank Commissioner Fazio for your leadership and support, and most importantly, your friendship over the years. Joe Castro, Operations West Bureau, Deputy Chief. September 6th, we responded, members from West Bureau responded to a reported brush fire in the Griffith Park area, Block 31, about 1,300 hours. Ultimately, resources from Los Angeles City Fire Department, Glendale, Burbank, and the Griffith Park Rangers fought an approximately 7-acre brush fire that was moving aggressively uphill, utilizing the efforts of our Air Force from air operations and the ground units. They mounted an aggressive attack on the fire and limiting it to about 7 acres. Traditionally, fires in Griffith Park don't represent quite the intermix challenge that the rest of the Hollywood Hills do, because most of the brush is situated that it burns downhill to structures. Fortunately, this fire ultimately could have moved towards structures, but the aggressive attack precluded that, and knockdown was achieved in about 3 hours with a little over 100 firefighters. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Do we have a verbal report by the medical director? One more. Oh, okay.
Good morning, Madam President, Chief Terrazas, Commissioners. My name's Tim Kelly, Battalion Chief, newly assigned to the Emergency Ops as the Executive Officer. Part of my duties or role is in there is the Mutual Aid Development, Mutual Aid Deployment Coordinator. As a result of the Governor's State of Emergency Declaration and activation of the Mutual Master Aid system, the department's been actively engaged in supporting the state's firefighting efforts throughout the state, but predominantly in the central and northern California, as the fire chief was given a report earlier on. The state's master mutual aid system is a systematic mobilization and organization of fire and rescue resources throughout the state, operating under a common command structure and common communications platform, working in operation together to mitigate the large-scale, complex, or catastrophic events that are occurring. The Governor's Office of Emergency Services is responsible for managing and coordinating the state's fire and rescue resources in response to these events under the Master Mutual Aid Plan. Under the plan, the department currently has, as the fire chief stated, 10 engine companies out, which is formed into 2 strike teams. We have 3 command teams. We have various overhead and incident command personnel working under that system. In fact, we have currently, in addition to the 2 strike teams, we have 23 overhead personnel working in the command, operations, planning, logistic sections of these incidents. We currently have resources and personnel at the Butte Fire, the Valley Fire, the Rough Fire, the Route Fire, and the Gasquet Fire, all working within that incident command organization. Just a couple other items on the Butte Fire. That fire is about 100 miles northwest of Sacramento. It's, as the chief said, it's consumed or scorched about 71,253 acres. It's 35% contained, and while we've had favorable weather conditions last night and today, there was about 20 homes that were consumed yesterday for a total of about 180 homes, all total on that fire. Hundreds of residents remain evacuated in that area and are housed in Red Cross shelters in the area or the region over there. The Valley Fire that's northwest of Sacramento, about 100 miles, that broke out on September 12th. That scorched about 62,000 acres. That's about 10% contained. It's a heavy brush and timber area. They have entire communities evacuated there. They've lost 585 homes, in addition to some outbuildings. And sadly, they've had 1 confirmed civilian fatality as a result of that fire. In addition to the impacts to the residents in those areas, there's been several animal shelter sites set up for the evacuation and care of animals, livestock, dogs, and other pets in that area. If you can imagine, these two fires alone have consumed or burned an area roughly equivalent to the size of the San Fernando Valley. We have personnel operating on the Rough Fire, which is a little bit further south of the Butte Fire. That's currently consumed 135,000 acres and still is an active fire today. To see all the fires that are active in the state and ongoing, you can people can access caloes.ca.gov for that. So we literally have thousands of firefighters on these fires, over 500 pieces of equipment throughout the state, working in unison, coordination under that common command structure and platform. Through the fire chief's direction, the department will continue to commit resources as called upon by the state and as good partners under the Master Mutual Aid Plan. We've had a lot of really good publications, and like the chief mentioned, on our resources and the performance of our people out there. But you guys should be very proud to know that we've had really tremendous reports on the type of work that our people are doing in these heavy timber, heavy brush areas. Some of the work typically not done through our department on these deployments, but they're getting into that work. So they've represented themselves in the department extremely well and with great distinction. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Chief, that fire's what, 35% under control now?
The Butte Fire is 35% and the Valley Fire is 10% right now.
And the fatality, my understanding was it was a woman that was in her 80s that just refused to leave her home, is what I heard.
Yeah, that was the report that we were hearing.
Yeah,
so
too bad. Leave your home when you're asked to leave your home by the fire department.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Do we have a report from the medical director?
Good morning, Madam President,
morning.
Chief Terrazas, Fire Commissioners. My name is Jeff Elder, Battalion Chief assigned to the Emergency Medical Services Division, and I am giving the report on behalf of Dr. Eckstein. As everyone in this room is aware of, last week we had record-breaking heat and humidity here in Los Angeles, which had a fairly dramatic effect on our calls for service. We experienced a 3-day spike in EMS transports throughout the city, with our largest day, transports being Thursday, September 9th, where we experienced over 724 transports. If you compare that to our average of 600 a day, it is extremely significant. To help address those additional calls for service, we initiated our EMS surge plan, where we deploy an additional 6 rescues throughout the city to help offset that extreme workload. But as we all see today, the rain is falling and the heat is gone, so hopefully we'll be back to normal. I have some significant incidents to report on, both of these occurring in the Valley Bureau. Sadly, on Thursday, August 6th, we had an incident at the Recology waste treatment plant out in the Sun Valley area, actually 9189 DeGarmo. We had a worker from the facility who was run over by a trash truck. He was pronounced dead on scene. It was a very traumatic incident for all involved. The members on scene did an outstanding job. They initiated a request for the mayor's crisis response team, initiated an investigation with Cal OSHA, and also contacted the district attorney's office. Notification was made to conduct an investigation. We had family members that showed up on scene, so we also had mental health resources that were there to assist. And also the council member, Fuente's office, was notified of this incident. Also last night in Valley Bureau, we had an LAPD officer that was involved in a hit-and-run accident. That officer sustained serious head trauma, but is reported to be doing well. Don't have any additional information on the circumstances of that incident. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So we took this a bit out of order. So that's the reports of the fire chief, and then we already did the consent agenda. We're going to go back to presentations. So now moving on to the regular agenda items. Take this again a bit out of order. Can we start with 5D, which is the first watch?
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Fire Chief, City Attorney. Bill Jones with Administrative Services Bureau. Before you today is a combination grant acceptance from LA County Department of Public Health, and it's a directed grant to install the First Watch syndromic surveillance software, which allows for early detection of mass biohazards occurring in the greater LA area.
What's syndromic surveillance?
Basically, the syndromic surveillance is identifying those biohazards. Ebola outbreak would be a good example, or contagions that are occurring. Could also include chemical. But basically, it's monitoring the CAD system to see if there are incidents that are occurring that create a pattern. And once that pattern is identified, flags go up. The LAFD is notified, LA County is notified, and I believe also the CDC is notified.
Move to receive and file item. What is this? 5.
Well, I don't think it's receive and file. It's to approve the
Sorry.
report and recommendations and transmit to the mayor and city council.
Sorry. Move to approve the recommendation on
Contracts.
item 5D.
D.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Commissioners.
So, we've done 5C and 5D. Let's do 5B, and then we'll go to 5A, which is the big one today. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Chief, Ms. Ravish, and Sandy. I'm Graham Everett, I'm the Chief of Staff. With your update for August 24th through September 4th on City Council Committee's activity report. So everything that's included in your packet is all I have for you today. The most noteworthy of such are 2 council options that are items that came through that were approved by council on August 28th, was going back to the drone issue that we had the press conference for. So they went ahead and adopted those 2 items. Other than that, it was pretty much all consent items that went through. Budget and Finance did on August 24th pass through the 17 electric vehicles for the Fire Prevention Bureau, and that's going to, the committee received and filed that. Council and committees were in recess in observance of the Jewish holidays yesterday, so I have no other reports for you today.
Just a quick question. Do you happen to know the status of the state legislation on the drones?
I did hear that one of the items was vetoed.
Yeah, that was around the privacy.
Right. But outside of that, I haven't heard any further on the other legislation that's before.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know the bill number, do you, on that one?
There was 2 of them. There was AB 157 and 158, I think it was. But I'm not sure which one was the privacy one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to receive and file?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so our first regular agenda item, which is our last item today, is a report by the department on the modifications to disciplinary process and review.
Good morning, President Ibarra, Fire Commissioners, Chief Terrazas, Council. My name is Kristen Crowley. I'm a battalion chief currently assigned as the acting commander of our Professional Standards Division. I'm here to give you a report as an overview of the department's plan to implement a new philosophy of discipline, a model that would include a non-punitive, educational-based corrective action. A subsequent report will be presented to the Commission outlining the specifics of each component of the discipline improvement plan. A little background, the department has discussed the need to modify the disciplinary process with the Commission in the past. Most recently, in January 2014, the Board of the Fire Commissions has directed the Fire Chief to explore updates in the disciplinary process that was approved in the 2008 audit implementation plan to allow the department to adjudicate minor complaints with other alternatives such as corrective action or training or counseling, even when there is a relevant disciplinary guideline. In addition to complying with the directive on this issue, the department is also formulating an alternative plan to discipline and a model that permits settlements of cases where appropriate. So there's 3 recommendations I'd like to go over this morning, and these are the proposed modifications to the disciplinary process. The first is the alternative plan to discipline. In most cases where members fail to follow the department's policies and rules, corrective action of a non-punitive nature, such as educational-based discipline, counseling, or oral warning by an immediate supervisor may be appropriate. And as we know, the purpose of corrective action is to first educate the member about their actions in the relevant policy, rule, or procedure, and second, encourage the member to correct their behavior to conform to the department's expectations before it becomes a significant issue and then enters into the formal disciplinary arena. Corrective action allows a member to modify their behavior with supervisory guidance and support without actually going into the formal disciplinary process. Where the member cannot or will not modify their behavior to conform to the department's expectations, or where the nature of the misconduct requires formal discipline, a punitive action may actually occur. The second modification to the disciplinary process is our ability to adjudicate minor complaints with other alternatives such as corrective action or training or counseling, even where there is a relevant disciplinary process or guideline. The 2008 audit I was speaking of earlier basically mandated the department to initiate an investigation on all complaints, regardless of the nature and the seriousness of the allegations. Although most complaints will require some investigation, a substantial body of complaints, such as which with a different process of complaint review by a subject matter expert, which can resolve with directed training, which will correct the member's behavior and ensure public service. These complaints involve a technical violation of a policy or rule, which results in minimal harm. And one good example of this would be a good faith mistake, which violates one of our many EMT and paramedic protocols, but does not affect the overall delivery of patient care. The third recommendation is our settlement ability to settle disciplinary cases when appropriate. The department may settle specific types of disciplinary actions as defined by the department's policies, procedures, or protocols. And we will consider several defined and articulated factors in determining each and every one of these cases. We actually have a 12-page settlement format in which we'd like to follow, and a few of these factors include the degree of the misconduct, that is, if it's harmed the public service, the risk of harm to public service, whether proposed settlement will correct the member's long-term behavior to conform to the department's expectations and future misconduct, and the member's past disciplinary history, and the last one is the potential for the member's rehabilitation. A report will be presented to you with a detailed explanation of each and every one of these recommendations with a proposed modification in future meetings. Do you have any questions with these 3 recommendations?
I have some questions, Chief.
Yes, sir.
In the past, some of the field level dialogue has sort of turned around where the issue of discipline would be adjudicated. Will this be pushing some of those responsibilities back into the kind of the captain level?
Absolutely. It depends upon the level of misconduct, but that's where we see the second recommendation is that key component where if it is an issue with a policy or procedure at a low level with like the example I gave with the EMT policy or procedure, we can directly have the subject matter expert look at that, which would be Dr. Eckstein, and then make his recommendations in regards to the immediate training to correct the behavior. If it's something higher with a misconduct, then it would be pushed over to PSD.
Okay, great, thanks.
So just a few comments. I think that it's our disciplinary system is relatively new for any public safety organization. I think it's only existed since 2008, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's actually relatively new, and the prior commission made a lot of recommendations as to how it should be organized. I mean, I think I've spoken to like 80% of the people in this room who've complained to me about different aspects of it. So after, this is something we've been talking about for 2 years. about how to fix different aspects of it, how to finesse it. And this is basically just enunciating a different philosophy of a discipline. So it's not strictly punitive, which I think is kind of the system that we have now. It's actually meant to just be more corrective and sort of just create a better system, and also to help the member too. If it's low level, then we don't need to create like these long backlog of disciplinary cases. I think overall, I know that we'll hear from UFAC in a little bit, but I think overall this is a really good thing for our members. And from what I've heard, this is the kind of, whether they understand the details of it right now or not, which they may not right now because we don't have as much details, which is why we're introducing this in 2 parts. So today, what we're doing today is just announcing like a new philosophy of discipline. And then in our next meeting, we'll have more details. But I think it's something that, the UFLAC members are going to ultimately be in support of, I think.
My question is, as you develop the policy, you've been working with all of the representatives from the different sections of the department, as far as the labor union groups or associations that represent different people?
We reached out to UFLAC as well as that's the other piece is the employer organizations to make sure that we have the buy-in from everybody. We'll from this point forward, when we're developing the processes for our discipline improvement plan, we'll make sure that we're including everybody to get their buy-in.
And just to build on what the President Barr was saying, this has been 18 months in the making, sort of a plan, I think. And I agree that this represents a pretty significant revision to our philosophy that is really based on the listening that I think everybody in this group has done, as well as the chief and others, in terms of thinking through, what was problematic about the old philosophy. And I want to say the old philosophy was a product of its time. The department was a different department in 2006 when that philosophy came into being. There's been a lot of changes in culture, a lot of changes in approach here that justify a change to philosophy that we're making here today. And I also want to note, just for Commissioner, to make sure we are all on the same page, this is just the beginning. Mm-hmm. All we're doing at this point is saying, this is our work plan. These are the items that are going to come up. It's an overview at this point. We have proposals for modifications here. Each proposal, and correct me if I'm speaking incorrectly here, but each proposal is going to come in great detail over the course of the next several months. So we're going to have an opportunity to really dig in, take more comment publicly on this stuff. There will be continued opportunity for discussions with various stakeholder groups to get to where we want to get to here. But I think everything I see here is a positive for our department, for our members in the field, for I think our command staff in terms of thinking through, bringing a new approach and some rationality to the system that's going to make things, one, flow more smoothly, but two, make the system feel like it's supposed to feel, which is that it is about public safety and about improving the work of our members and giving them an opportunity to improve. But if they can't, then making sure that our high standards and our accountability are upheld. And that's the way a progressive discipline system in an organization like ours should work. I strongly encourage my colleagues to move this along. Again, it's a long time in coming, and every time I do a visit in the field, the system, the discipline system comes up, and folks are just really ready for some changes here. I intend to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions about it?
Madam President, could I add some
Yeah.
comments? The intent of a effective disciplinary system is to modify behavior, set expectations for the other members of our department, and perhaps most importantly, maintain public trust. I was the PSD commander upon its creation back in 2008, and I think Commissioner Glazier, you said it well, it was a product of its time. It was intended to be all-encompassing and very rigid, and sometimes the penalties were very excessive. My experience in that assignment for the 2.5 years I was there, and subsequent in this position for a little over a year, I've learned that the vast majority of our people do great work, and occasionally they make a bad decision. The vast majority of the infractions are relatively minor in nature. So what we were seeing is that we would put our members through this disciplinary process, and then there would be a sometimes heavy suspension, and we may not have been modifying behavior. What we were doing is creating a frustrated employee who had poor morale. So this is an attempt to change that philosophy, to modify that behavior, and to have a positive employee after this process. The curriculum that Chief Crowley has been developing with our public safety partners gives us a platform for our members to go to a class and to learn important life lessons and to reduce and sometimes mitigate the entire penalty. So I think this is long overdue. It's taken us a while to get here. Our labor partners will be integral as we move forward, and we've had discussions in the past, but we're not done. We have many more meetings to conduct, many more details to refine, and in future presentations we'll give you more of those details. But so far, I'm very optimistic of the progress that Chief Crowley has made, of the settlements that we've already agreed upon. The employees themselves are telling me they're very appreciative, they get it, they're apologetic that they're there in the first place, and they'll never do it again. My experience has been I rarely ever saw a repeat offender. Rare. And there are, I can count on one hand, instances of very serious types of misconduct. We still retain the ability to handle those in the harshest manner possible. So I'm very optimistic about our future, and I continue to look forward to working with Chief Crowley and UFLAC and the Chief Officers Association.
If I could just add echo some thanks here. This started with for me, just speaking for myself. This started with me a conversation with Chief Ulrich, 18 months ago, and that was really I think I was just a baby commissioner at that point. Learning about what his frustrations were with the system, and it evolved into a longer conversation with Paul Hayashida and with Chief Crowley, and the sort of all the stakeholder outreach that the president and I did to really go on a listening tour about this stuff. But it's a lot of work to try to sort through this stuff. I want to really recognize the work that has been done and the spirit in which it has been undertaken, and thank all the stakeholder groups for their contribution to the discussion. And I also wanted to say the fire service generally, we're not known for having really sort of progressive ideas in discipline. Even where we are today at the LA Fire Department, as difficult as our system has been, it's remarkably, it's still ahead of a lot of other folks in the fire service. And I think this is going to really take us a next step forward. And, I don't just want to do something that's great for our department. I want to be a model for how other departments look at accountability and discipline and progressive discipline. And I think by bringing in some really things like education-based discipline and alternatives, and having real guidelines set and transparency in terms of how we do settlements, which is what we're going to be seeing soon. That's the stuff that's really going to set us apart. So thank you for the work. And if there's unless more comments, I'd like to move it. Is that?
Oh, there is a public comment.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you. So, Mr. Frank Lima from UFLAC.
Thank you, Madam President, Commissioners. Frank Lima, President, United Firefighters. First of all, I want to take a moment to go back a little bit. And UFLAC's been pushing education-based discipline for over 8 years, and we used to get laughed at by the original PSD creators. But the move in this direction is a good thing, and we applaud that. So seeking to modify the discipline philosophy is a good thing, somewhat of a management's right. Now, this is the first move of the chess piece. Now, I'm hearing it very clearly, but I don't see in this document that the third or fourth chess move down the road, we better have the union included. There was testimony earlier that UFLAC was included in this already. That is not the case. We were given no prior notice of this. I want to make that very clear. But prospectively moving forward, we would appreciate that. We do reserve our right to bargain over this topic. I'd like to just flip to this last page, hit over a couple key items. In the conclusion, it tells you right there, the department and the Professional Standards Division has been consulting with everybody except UFLAC, not mentioned in this document. But let's move forward. To hear that counseling and training and oral warnings will be a new tool now, that's a good thing, because the only tool that used to be in the toolbox was a hammer. So the meet and confer process also doesn't happen in public at the Fire Commission. It happens in a private meet and confer session. I just want to make that very clear, that also there's 2 signatures on disciplinary issues. There's not signatures from the bomberos and stakeholders, signatures from the union that represents the entire bargaining unit and the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to move to adopt the recommendations, and this is item 5A, correct?
Second.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that concludes most of our agenda, but we still have presentations.
We have a couple, and Chief Castro will start the first one.
Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Terrazas, Council, and Sandy, in my 37 years on the job, there's been a commonly echoed sentiment across the department, and that is a goal for all members in any position, any rank, any assignment, that they leave that assignment better than where the position it was in when they originally came there. So they leave it better than when they found it. The people that we're going to honor today with a letter of appreciation from the fire chief embody that sentiment, as they have absolutely left the department in a better position in their assignment than when they found it. And I would like to begin, we're honoring 2 individuals and an organization. I would like to begin with the certificate of the first individual. I'll read the other 4, and then we'll bring them up for comment in the fire chief's comment and pictures. And the first recipient is Captain 2 Timothy Ramirez. In anticipation of the 2015 wildfire season, Los Angeles Fire Department was faced with an unprecedented threat due to staffing shortages and a multi-year drought. The drought and subsequent plummeting fuel moisture levels have created the compounding dilemma of fires that are much easier to start, faster to spread, and result in extreme and unexpected fire behavior. Consequently, the threat in regards to public safety and firefighter safety is at an all-time high. Highlighting the need to prepare and train LAFD members to adequately deal with this threat was also pushed to the forefront. Utilizing a unique and multifaceted training continuum that you, Captain Tim Ramirez, developed, you and your staff, the in-service training section developed over the past 2 years, understanding staffing shortage and incident response numbers precluded traditional methods of company training and preparation. You designed a combination of traditional deliveries and innovative and contemporary web-based deliveries. Central to the evolution of the training of these development was training video vignettes. You sought out various LAFD subject matter experts and collaborated with outside organizations to develop and produce training videos that not only instructed members on remaining efficient and safe in the wildland, it showed them how to do it. Your efforts have established a training template that will be followed for years to come and are consistent with the highest standards of the Los Angeles Fire Department. You placed into action a program that exceeded all expectations. And Captain Ramirez was the initial catalyst of this. And when he embarked on his responsibility of RT-130 training, which is our annual brush and wildland firefighting training for all department members. He immediately sought out this training continuum, which, in addition to the didactic information, he synchronized these efforts with our COSEP, our Chief Officers Continued Education Program, our OSEP deliveries, and then all of this is on a web-based program that allows members to compensate for the level of activities and the contemporary challenges we face in training members. Additionally, it provided a means to measure who completed the training, who didn't complete the training, which bodes well for our reimbursement for CalCHAC and vet funds. His next step was to enlist the help of Captain Kenneth Cook, who he gave the assignment of filming these video vignettes. And these video vignettes are something that are memorialized on our Target Solution website, where members can bring up these videos and train themselves at their convenience at the station. It doesn't require 5 hours of driving to Frank Hotchkiss. They can do it in between runs and when it's convenient based on their activity levels. And the next certificate is to Captain Cook, who was given that job. And again, the thing about Captain Cook is he represents, in my opinion, one of our best instructional and command and control minds on the department. He's a young officer, a captain. We definitely he hasn't seen his last promotion. He is a driven and comprehensive professional that designed the syllabus, the scripts, and and oversaw the development of these videos. And we're going to show you a snippet of the videos shortly. And central to that, both of these gentlemen reached out to our nonprofit partner, which is MySafeLA. And MySafeLA is capable of producing videos that far exceed anything we're capable of producing internally. And their certificate reads, MySafeLA was consulted, in addition to all the other stuff, MySafeLA was consulted prior to the production of these videos and graciously consented to accept the job and donate their time. MySafeLA's national reputation as an award-winning film producer was clearly illustrated and superior to anything we could have produced internally. Their efforts have exceeded all expectations and have established a training template that will be followed for years to come and are consistent with the highest standards of the fire department. And the videos that they have are placed on the website, and eventually my assumption is that they will be utilized and provide training efficiency for far more people than just LAFD. It'll be utilized and reached by firefighters from all over the country. And the chief executives from MySafeLA are David and Cameron Barrett, who are also here. So what I'd like to do now is to call all four of them up to the stand to get their certificates and offer any comments.
Thank you, Chief Castro. Caps Ramirez, Cook, David Barrett, Cameron Barrett, thank you for the work that you've done that we're representing here today. I think we can't overstate the synchronization and timing of brush training. As we speak, like we said earlier, we have multiple strike teams actually fighting fire, and they're fighting brush fires. The motto of training is train like your life depends on it, because it does. And literally, as we speak, our members may be in situations where their life is at hazard. And because of this training, they're going to be safer. And I think that's our number one responsibility, is to keep our people safe. So because of this effort, we've created a system where our members receive the appropriate training at the right time through the OSEP, COSEP. It's on a LMS, Learning Management System, and we use the vendor Target Solution, so you can track who's got the training. It also helps us generate revenue for vet and CalCHAC funds. And even one level more, I'm not sure if we're there yet, but we're pretty close, is that we're training the region, not only the city of Los Angeles, but the county of Los Angeles and the 31 area fire departments, all training on brush at the same time. We don't know who our members are fighting fire with right now. There could be an adjoining department from another part of the county. And because of this effort, they trained on the same evolutions. So I thank this group. I appreciate the hard work, and I'm glad you're on our team. Congratulations.
Why don't we, before we hear the comments from each, if we can, we have a compilation of the several videos that were produced, and if we can start that.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. IT from engine 35. We have a potential entrapment situation. We have firefighters deploying the shelters.
Those members, we got a couple helicopters coming your way with some other additional strike teams. Stay calm, pal. Here we come. We're coming to get you. All right, boys, nice job. There are three main things that kill firefighters in the fire service. Number one is complacency. Number two is communications. And number three is company unity.
Vegetation this year is as dry as it gets. You can tell by the look of it, the smell of it, the sound of it, and how much we have.
This is an example of a quick pickup method that we use to just get the hose up, off the street, on the rig, and we can be on our way. When you pull up in front of the house, I tried to give my firefighters assignments.
We'd rather you attach us to an incident, have us come out, than cancel us too early.
Down the road, skid well, back down the line to the road. Okay? End result. Very good to get out in Giroux. Like your life depends on it, because truly, it actually does depend on it.
Again, and that was a compilation of several videos that you can see. They reached out to numerous subject matter experts within the department, engaged many members, and really produced a product that I think that we haven't seen in the past. So I'd like to call up Cap Ramirez for the first comments.
Good morning, Commissioners, Fire Chief Terrazas, City Attorney. Thank you for the recognition. I accept it on behalf of my section and service training section. There's been a lot of good people down there, quality individuals, and through a collaboration, we've come up with some really good training through innovative ideas. And I was sitting in the back of the room, I was looking up at all of the signage up here, and this is a product that really speaks to a lot of the things that are on the walls behind you. As far as the teamwork concept, we use a number of people in this collaboration, including field personnel, us at in-service training under the direction of Chief Castro and Chief Rueda, and private industry and the people at MySafe LA, which was a huge help. Professionalism, A lot of the things Chief Terrazas has as goals as far as metrics driven through technology, this is a perfect example because now we know exactly who's been training. We can hold people accountable to it, and it's cutting edge stuff that we're very proud to show to other fire departments within the region. So thank you for the recognition, and good luck with your endeavors.
Next is Captain Kenneth Cook.
Good morning, Fire Commission, City Attorney, and Fire Chief. Thank you for the opportunity and the recognition. I was trying to think about what I might say in being recognized for something that I enjoy doing, which is training. And I was thinking about it last night as I was doing homework with my daughter on FaceTime from the fire station. And the reason I bring that up is because we were talking about what to do and figuring out a math problem, but I was just telling her what to do. And when I turned the phone around, because obviously you can see on FaceTime what's happening, and I showed her how I did the problem and she could visually see it, it changed everything for her because she understood it. And now she was able to apply that same technique and show me that she knew how to do it by actually writing the problem out. And so that's really what these training videos do. They show you what right looks like in about 5 minutes. And that's something that's much needed on our department because there's a lot of folks, our leadership is leaving. We have a lot of young folks coming on, and we need to show them what right looks like. But I want to personally thank really Dave and Cameron Barrett because I was introduced to them by firefighter Margaret Stewart, and I really didn't have an idea how we were going to go about producing these films, and the amount of work that they put in and their tolerance with my schedule. We really produced what was about the length of a movie. And so I really appreciate their professionalism, their expertise in filming and in editing. So thank you very much. And I hope that we can continue and have this actually be a baseline for our department. I'm currently detailed to the regional training group, and we service 9,000 firefighters in training. And one of the things that we're doing is offering about 12 videos for the entire fiscal year to 9,000 firefighters within the region. And my hope is that our department can become the lead on producing those videos. The folks that were actually in the videos, I want to personally thank as well because they are the subject matter experts. Engineer Aaron Gervan, Captain 1 Rich Deedy, Captain 1 Dave Randolph, Captain 2 Andy Ruiz, Crew 3 the Fuel Management Unit, Battalion Chief Jack Weiss, and Battalion Chief Corey Rose. So without their expertise, we really couldn't have produced these videos. It was more of just a vision for me and utilizing them, and obviously my Safe LA folks, so I appreciate that. And again, I hope we can continue the same type of training. Thank you for the recognition.
And ironically, I last night we were trying to determine a way to train about nearly 300 captains in engine boss certification, which is a qualification they need to go up and participate in these strike teams. And it's kind of a daunting endeavor. And I was speaking with Chief Combs about the possibility of we have members up there that are gleaning a lot of information, and how could we capture that information of these changing operational periods and the briefings that take place up at these fires, because we only have a limited amount of people up there. And his recommendation was that we send a film crew up there, drive up 500 miles, spend 2 or 3 days filming. And I said, well, who would you suggest we do that? And he goes, I don't have a clue. And I called Dave Barrett, and I said, Dave, is there any way you could get a film crew up to the fire sometime next week, drive 500 miles, spend a couple days filming the videos so that we could produce an instructional video of the operational briefing period? And by the way, I don't have any money to pay you. And the typical reply from MySafe LA was, we're all in and we'll do it. And that was our conversation. So with that, I'll bring up Dave and Cameron Barrett.
Commissioners, Counselor, thank you so much. We're really overwhelmed. Making films is fun. Making films with the Los Angeles Fire Department is extraordinary, and being recognized for it is really overwhelming. I think the best films, even if they're just 6-minute training films, are made by passionate filmmakers who are committed to the subject matter and know that everyone at MySafe LA, especially our film unit, is committed and passionate to helping this command staff tell their stories and keep their firefighters safe. So thank you so much. We're really overwhelmed.
Anytime you need us, 365, 24/7, we're going to be there for you. Commissioner Fazio, thanks for your service and good luck in your next endeavor. We look forward to seeing how you progress. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm getting ready for a picture type thing. Who are those people in the back?
Yeah, good idea.
Move out of the way, huh? Stay next to camera. Madam President.
Yes.
I would just like to comment on the My Safe LA program. That is I have spoken about it before, but it is a wonderful program. And they do so many things, but they have wonderful videos for all kinds of training. And it's just an invaluable program. The people in one of the organizations where they made a presentation are still talking about the presentation and expecting them to return this year.
That's great.
The presentation.
Yeah.
Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Julie and Sandy, I'm Graham Everett, Chief of Staff. I have the honor and the privilege of providing our second presentation today, which is the acknowledgement and celebration of the contributions of Commissioner Fazio to our commission. Commissioner Fazio started with this commission in July of 2012, and his contributions have been numerous. Most notably in recent times, providing us his experience in the public safety realm as well as his experience in the business realm for our Fire Prevention Bureau, and really providing them insight and helping our inspectors understand what it is that we do from the eyes of the public, which has been huge for our moving forward on our fire prevention initiatives. In addition to that, I've been present with Commissioner Fazio when we've talked about the hiring process and doing the SRS selections. And Commissioner Fazio has always provided insight to the personnel department and anyone that has an influence on that process to try to make it better, to improve the future of our department for our hiring process. And finally, just the fact that he shows up. Commissioner Fazio is just present. So when he comes to our events and he promotes the department and the good work of our department members, it really goes a long way. So we will miss you, and thank you so much for your contributions, and we will keep tabs on and how you're doing. I think with that, Chief Terrazas might have a few words, and we do have a presentation for you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Commissioner Fazio, where do I start? The thing that you impressed upon me was your dedication, your passion, your involvement with the Fire Prevention Bureau. I know you actually sat in on some interviews. I don't think that had ever been done before. SRS, I know that was controversial, and we had some. Still have some work to do on that. And we're currently working on it, and I think many of the improvements that we're working towards are as a result of your involvement in that effort. So, when I heard that you were leaving, my thought was, why? You know, you're leaving the greatest fire department in the world. And I think you asked yourself a couple times, why are you leaving? And what you told me was because I think you can make a difference. You can make a positive difference. And I'm sure you will, because you've done that here. So we will miss your leadership and your mentorship and your guidance. But I think the area that you represent will benefit from the things that you contributed to our department. So we certainly wish you well. Once a member of the family, always a member of the family. No matter where you go, you're going to be Commissioner Fazio. You're always welcome back. And we wish you well in your future endeavors. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.
So I think some of the but
we do have a memento for you.
That's great.
It says, it's a battalion or a chief's helmet. The shield says Commissioner, LAFD. Presented to Fire Commissioner Stephen R. Fazio, with grateful appreciation for your extraordinary service and commitment to the Los Angeles Fire Department, July 2012 to September of 2015. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all your service. Thank you. Deeply appreciate it. Let's take a few shots. Can I get the group in?
Sure, that'd be great.
Can we get all hands out?
Do it from this direction. How's that? I'm neither an emotional person nor am I a person that's generally at a loss for words, but I'm finding myself feeling more emotional than I thought I might and totally at a loss of words. But, you know, really, truly, I mean, when I first was asked by Mayor Villaraigosa if I would serve on the Fire Commission, I was really kind of orientating my hopes towards police, because I had 30 years at the LAPD and I come from a background of law enforcement, so I felt like I kind of understood some of the areas I might be able to get involved with for the police department, never really thinking about, you know, the fire department as being somewhere where I would end up. So here I was, you know, a few years ago, not that long ago, but nevertheless, somehow or another in a very short period of time, the way I was sort of framing the fire department differently from the police department was, in the police department, you have that youthful enthusiasm at 21, 22, 23 years old, and somehow it gets wrung out of you through the criminal justice system and the disciplinary system that we're now altering, which I'm happy about. And it just seems like by the time you get in the law enforcement world into like your, you know, late 30s, if not sooner, you know, you get kind of to be cynical and just sort of hardened. In fact, I even as a reserve went out and bought myself a puppy when I was about 27 just so I could like get a little warmer, because I was even finding working twice a day I was getting a little bit kind of like a jerk. And so when I came on the fire department, I found that youthful enthusiasm remained inside of the whole career, you know, and I started meeting the command staff, deputy chiefs, assistant chiefs, battalion chiefs, guys in the field, captains, engineers, inspectors, and everybody remained the way in which I knew that I was and the cops were that I sort of encountered, and my family members sort of even in their, you know, early 20s, that need to serve that value, if you will, just was something in the fire service that remains. And I started falling, you know, sort of in love with the fire service, wondering why I didn't do this as a career, you know, and I've just come to really, really admire and appreciate the value set. You know, everybody on this job that I've met in the last 3 years, they're all about getting the job done. They're all about public safety. They're all about, you know, solving problems and doing it in that sort of can do, no matter what the case attitude. I wrote my sort of resignation letter to the mayor, and I sort of wanted to re-express to him that if you think about this agency with regard to what they've overcome, and I know Captain Lima has been up here reminding us in case we might forget, the resources that have been reduced in this department over the last several years that are hopefully now coming back. Any other agency probably would have groused about it. Maybe even they would have had a gray flu or a blue flu or a red flu. What do we call it in the fire service? A slowdown. Yeah, we don't have such a thing. And yet this department, no matter what's thrown at it, the men and women say, we'll get it done. Yeah, okay, a little less resources, and we're not real happy about the fact that we don't have enough people to do what we need to do, but we get it done, and it's just so admirable. And I've heard any number of people come up and talk about how if, God forbid, they ever got sick or their loved ones did, they hope it's in the city of LA because of our personnel. They're trained. They're technically skilled, they've got the expertise, and they'll get it done no matter what it is. And so that's something that, personifies this department. I've so thoroughly enjoyed our new commission members. They've become friends. I hope I'll be able to stay in touch. I'm still in touch with our former commission members from time to time, which is a joy. And I really appreciated the comment about once you're in, you don't leave, because I hope that I'll be able to come back. And Nicole and I love cooking for the fire service. We've been at a few stations doing that, and nobody's been poisoned yet. Not as a result of me, but as a result of Nicole's good cooking. Her mom even came down and did dessert. So we'll keep doing that stuff, and you haven't lost me yet. I'll still be involved. And thank you, Chief, and thanks to all the chiefs, all the captains, engineers, paramedics, MySafe LA. Thanks to everyone for your hospitality and your allowing me to come in and try to make a contribution. I see my friend Karen Wagner too, so I want to make sure to thank her for all of her support as well, Pete and everyone else. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, no, we're going to take a bunch of pictures. Oh, okay.
No, just a final announcement is we do have a reception in the lunchroom in the hallway. So after commission, we'd like for everyone to come by and say goodbye to Commissioner Fazio. And that's it.
Yeah. We also have public comments, but I just want to thank you also for being a really important voice in the commission, and you're the one holdover from the Villaraigosa Commission, so you were very pivotal to us when we first came on, and we're going to miss you. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
So we do have a public comment from Mr. Frank Lima of UFLAC.
Madam President, Commissioners, Frank Lima, President of UFLAC. First of all, I'd just like to take the moment to thank Commissioner Fazio for the friendship we've developed. You've always shown up at our UFLAC Christmas parties and reached out to us and your service in the community and things like that. And obviously with your new endeavor to state senate, I'm sure we'll be crossing paths as, I'm a vice president for our state organization union. I see a lot of positives here, a lot of recognitions and a change in the discipline, things that didn't used to happen up here. But I'd like to also take the time to recognize Captain Ramirez and Captain Cook. That's a great two members that you picked off right there. And Captain Ramirez, although he's also one of my best friends, he was a rookie at 94s under me. He was my AO at Fire Station 50, so we go way back. So I whispered to him, I said, I don't know Captain Cook very well. Has he got your standards? And he goes, oh, yeah. So, and then I heard Chief Castro say, Captain Cook's pretty sharp. This isn't his last promotion, so I'm going to be very good to him. So when he's my chief one day, he'll remember that. But thank you, Commissioner Fazio, and appreciate you recognizing the hard work of my members. Thanks.
Thank you.
Madam President, before you adjourn.
Yeah.
Oh, in my opening comments, I already thanked Commissioner Fazio. So, but the one thing that I wanted to point out is that you could not tell by his service which mayor appointed him. He served the department in just a very caring and different way. It had nothing to do with the appointment. You were just special for the job. I forgot to wish the Jewish community, the mayor, and the city council members a happy New Year, a happy Rosh Hashanah, and I wanted to do that.
Oh, and to Commissioner Fazio.
And Commissioner Fazio.
Yes, a hearty Shana Tova, or as my ancestors used to say in Yiddish, Git Yontif.
Thanks. So I think that's it. So we can adjourn and go to the reception. Yeah.
My last motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Good luck.
We could try.
Did we?
Significant incidents.